I tried the whole work your 12s straight in a row on nights, and that was absolutely insane. Three 12s, 5/8s, self-scheduling, set scheduling, day shift, night shift. What schedule is the best schedule for you? Well, you're in luck. My name is Lamisha. I'm a registered nurse living in the Bay Area and currently working in the Bay Area. And I have almost worked every single schedule possible. And today, we're going to be talking about the various schedules that you could work. And if that's something that interests you, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. It really helps the channel out and it lets me know that you like the content I'm making. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Just a quick disclaimer, I cannot tell you which shift is best for you. You need to be able to find the one that best fits your life. And today I'm just going to be sharing a little bit of what I've experienced, and hopefully that'll help you make a more informed decision about which schedule works best for your life. First, let's talk about working 5 days, 8-hour shifts. My current job that I'm at right now, I currently do 5 days a week at 8 hours a day. Now this can vary because I am per diem, so I kind of get to make my own schedule, but being hired at 8 hours a shift, I prefer to work 5 days a week. So I can tell you that working 5 days a week is great because the shifts are not as long, but also it can be a little hectic because your shifts go by a lot faster than 12-hour shifts. Another thing about working 8-hour days is that instead of having 4 days off, you only have 2 days off. So that's the trade-off that you make when you work 8-hour days. I do like the fact that because I do work 8 hours and I am personally on day shift, I get to come home, I get to be with my family during the day, and then when they're going to sleep at night, you know, we are sleeping at the same time, so I don't feel like any time is really missed. I've also worked 8-hour shifts on nights, and that was rough because again, family sleeping, and then, you know, I'm awake at work, and then when they're awake and at work and all this stuff, I'm at home sleeping, so that makes it a little hard. Kind of have to see what works best for you. And the next thing I want to talk about is working the magical unicorn of 3/12s. I personally love working 12-hour shifts. Once you start working 12-hour shifts, it's really hard to go back to 8-hour days. I used to, as a new grad, work alternate schedules. Every month it would switch between day shift and night shift, but it would be 12-hour days. I'd be able to get my 4 days off. If I wanted to, I could also arrange my schedule in any way I wanted because it's also a self-scheduling system. So you can work your required amount of weekends. You can kind of put your days wherever you wanted them. So, you know, you could take like 7 days off and not use any PTO. And if you wanted to go longer, then you could use PTO, which was amazing. So that was really great about working 12s. And then again, it gives you more time to get things done, and it's great. Like, it just gives you that kind of like nice flexibility. However, I could say that when I was working 12s on nights, it was really hard because I wouldn't get to see my family as much because again, that whole thing about like you being awake at night and then being awake during the day when you're sleeping, it just makes it hard to communicate with each other. Now let's transition into days versus night shift. For me personally, I think that night shift is the best for new grads to start. Sometimes new grads do get hired into day shift positions. One of my really good friends got hired into a day shift position as a new grad, but it can be really hard working day shift as a new grad because day shift is very busy. You have a lot of interruptions. The patient has procedures. They have people from the healthcare team visiting them. They have just visitors in general. And on top of that, they have tasks that you have to get done throughout your shift, so it can get really, really busy. Night shift, it's really heavy in the beginning of the shift, but then once the night continues on, it tends to get a little bit slower. For me as a new grad, I didn't really experience that because I was always really busy. And to this day, I have a hard time just sitting still and not doing anything. I think that's really weird. I always feel like there's work that could be done, so there's no reason for you to be sitting around on your, but that's just me. So that would be the biggest con about working on day shift. But the good thing about working on day shift is, again, kind of get to have a normal life balance, you know, a normal life, get to see your family, get to go meet up with your friends, do things during the day. It's nice, right, compared to working on nights, because usually when you work nights, you're really exhausted the next day. So like your days off don't really feel like days off because you're using those days to recover. For me, I tried the whole work your 12s straight in a row on nights, and that was absolutely insane. I could not do that. I found out what works best for me on night shift is being able to go to sleep. I would work my 2 days, then have a day of rest, and then go back for my last shift, and that just worked best for me and for my body. When I was on day shift, when I was alternating between days and nights, month to month, during the daytime, I would just cluster my 3 shifts like back to back, because that was just the easiest thing to do. I was able to just get my work week out of the way, and then the rest of the week was mine. So I did love that aspect. And again, like our bodies are used to thriving, like having a normal circadian rhythm. So trying to stay up at night when you're supposed to be sleeping is really hard, because your body naturally produces melatonin to like make you sleepy and all this stuff. So in any case, there's an art to it. I think I kind of got the groove down, but I can say like that first couple weeks being on night shift, I was groggy. I had a hard time focusing. You know, simple directions when driving, I could barely follow them because I was just so tired. You always want to think about your safety first. Like if nights are too much for you and for your body, like try to find another job that will accommodate you to work PMs or work day shift. Just my thoughts. And then let's talk about self-scheduling versus set schedules. So for me personally, I love self-scheduling. Again, as long as you meet your weekend requirements, you're golden. I don't like set schedules because you have to work like either Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Saturday, or whatever the shift may be. You can't really get time off unless you're willing to trade with your colleagues, or if you're able to use PTO. So because you have to meet your requirements. So I feel like that's a kind of sticky place to be in. I personally don't like that. I prefer the self-scheduling. I think the current place where I'm working at right now is trying to get self-scheduling in place, but when I had self-scheduling at my first job, I absolutely loved it. The good thing for me is that even though right now I work at a place where they do set scheduling, I'm per diem. This is another route that you can take. It's a different type of schedule. Again, it's more self-scheduling. I do have to meet a certain requirement for shifts that I need to work per month, including weekend commitments. However, I can do them in different combinations. Like if I wanted to not work weekends, I could work more weekdays to balance that out, or I can work all weekends and then not work during the weekdays. So it's kind of nice, and it makes my schedule really flexible so I can work it around my life. The only thing that I don't really like about being per diem is that if there's a low census, you're the first one to get canceled because they don't need you. So for example, right now, our census has been pretty low, so I've been getting canceled frequently. So it's kind of, you know, the pros and cons is that con, I'm not getting paid, but pro is I get to spend time working on my YouTube channel and putting out videos for you guys. So it kind of just fits my life in that way. I do have to say, however, is the benefits. Being per diem, they do pay me more, but because I'm also per diem, I don't get healthcare benefits. I don't get dental, I don't get vision. So that I have to find through other resources. And again, if you would like a video about what it's like to be a per diem, I can make a separate video on that. It's definitely affords me a great like work-life balance that I really enjoy. So per diem's also another way you could go. So I've yapped a lot about different schedules and different types of shifts that you can work. So let me know down in the chat which schedule works for you. And until next time, take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. I love you so much. Bye.